Let's start with where intra-African trade stands today and why the African Continental Free Trade Agreement is poised to radically change it a decade from now.
Well, today, just under 20% of total African trade is with itself. What that means is a lot of the goods, often raw materials, tend to leave as low value added products out of the market and go outside of the continent where their value is added and often re-imported at higher prices. And so the reality is we're exporting opportunity for jobs, we're exporting opportunity for value addition, and we're also lowering the opportunity to develop the continent. This is where we are, and this is what the AfCFTA is trying to resolve. So an Africa that's trading with itself, decide its own future, decide its own path, increases its bargaining power in a multipolar world.
So how then is Africa going to plug into global supply chains 10 years from now?
Well, given the size of the continent, you have a situation where a lot of what's needed is in different parts. So East Africa, DRC, Zambia, you have a lot of critical minerals that are going to drive the future. In South Africa, in North Africa, in Morocco, you have a strong industrial base. And so there's actually the opportunity for Africa to support itself and be self-sufficient in a lot of instances. And so it's not a situation that Africa will become totally self-sufficient and not interact with others, but it'll be interacting with others in the global community from a place of strength, from a place of equal footing, and it considered more of an equal partner increasingly with others.
So where have you already seen intra-African trade facilitated by the AfCFTA start to push the needle significantly on economic development and unlocking greater value from some of Africa's raw materials, for instance?
Yeah, so trading really just began a few years ago in 2021. So I think it's still early days to actually get measured data on the impact that's actually occurring on the ground. Now, having said that, you'll begin to see the impact of that. For example, the concept of single window systems and digital border clearings that are expected to reduce time at borders and improve trade. For example, between Kenya and Uganda, we had clearance used to take something like 3 days at the border before. But now with the implementation of some of these clearance systems, leveraging technology, clearance now has dropped to a few hours. And we begin to see, since that was done, you've seen increased truck volumes, increased cross-border trade. And so while we don't have enough time yet to sort of show really strong traction, there are clear examples of benefits from some of the implementation of the components of AfCFTA.
And what do you say to skeptics who think that this view of significantly more prosperity in Africa, driven by free trade and universal access to electricity, is naive?
I say, what's the alternative? 600 million people is, over twice the population of the US, for example, without electricity. What's the alternative? A continent with so many people needing jobs, needing stronger livelihoods. What's the alternative?
African countries have a late start in some areas compared to more mature economies, but that's not always a bad thing, because instead of having to upgrade aging or obsolete infrastructure, with the right investments, so many of these countries can leapfrog more developed countries. So what could an African Renaissance look like, and how would it differ from the West's economic development trajectory, especially with regards to things like the infrastructure needed to conduct business?
Yes, Africa continues to show the world this idea that it can leapfrog and move ahead. In Nigeria, where I live, for example, I'm able to transfer money instantly to any bank in the country from my bank account. So First Bank of Nigeria customer can send money instantly to an Access Bank customer. And so this is an example of where Africa is leading and showing the world what the future can look like. Something like this could happen. African entrepreneurs show the world that we can innovate through crazy and challenging contexts. So, electricity is a non-negotiable, right? But imagine if you had universal electricity in Africa by 2035. And so a drone with the charged battery can go from Nairobi all the way to Accra, despite the fact that the roads are not well connected, for example, or from Lagos to Lesotho. And so, that would be despite the physical infrastructure may not be there, but with this fully charged battery, a drone is able to achieve the logistical requirements that are necessary. So this could be another way where this leapfrog can be demonstrated. We are not able to anticipate what all the possible innovation could be. What we do know, though, is that African entrepreneurs equipped with the right enabling environment, with electricity, with the right skills, are able to design around the challenges that the continent has.